just to shine some light on this, what's happening is Coach Diaz is being very cautious. Okay, we don't want lingering injuries to turn into something big. So there's been a couple players like Kent Harris, there's been a couple players like Donald Chaney Jr. and Zion Nelson who have had a little lingering injuries from the offseason and the end of last season that he just doesn't want to be beat up. Okay, all these players are going to be ready for the fourth. Okay, that's what we call it, the fourth. They're going to be ready. So let's not overblow this. I understand that we haven't seen Zion Nelson. We haven't seen a couple of these guys be dressed out, but rest assured they will be ready on the 4th to line up and help the University of Miami put together the best game plan that they can to beat Alabama. It's just that simple. So Zion has been out, and who has been taking his spot? DJ Scaife at left tackle, at left guard, Jalen Rivers at center, Corey Gaynor at right guard, Navon Donaldson, and at right tackle, Jared Williams, the 7th-year player.
It's not good to get behind anybody, but if Miami's down 21 points in most of their games this season, not again that you want to be in that position against anybody because your chances of winning are minuscule. But if Miami's down 21-0 or 24-3 to Virginia in the first half, I'm still watching that game because they can still make it a game. They have the talent, but you don't want to get down to this talented a team and Nick Saban in particular early. They've got to get the jump.
I agree. And to be honest with you, Mark, I don't think it has to be a jump. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, maximize that opportunity. Okay, if that big play, no, Chance Williams isn't a strong side defense, and he's light in the behind, he's a weak side. Next. Okay. Anyhow, at the end of the day, you got it, dog. If you got a chance, and let's say Miami calls a 26 stretch, dog, and we block it perfectly, and we shoot that gap. Insert name here, running back name here, cannot go down because one of the Bama players who got cut on the floor hops up and slaps your ankle, and your ankle hits your other ankle. You hit. No. You have to keep your feet. That's what I'm saying. If there's a fade route and you're one-on-one and you're wide receiver so-and-so, and you have that cornerback beat and the safety's coming and you know he's going to smack you, you still got to go up and catch that ball and then protect yourself on the way down. Okay? If you, as a defensive tackle, you get the snap count, you read it perfectly, and you're on that, you're one-on-one, you're ripping through that gap, and you got the guard beat, you can't just put a hand on one of the running backs and try to use their jersey to yank them down. No. Complete that rip, settle yourself, wrap up, use your body weight to bring that little man down to the ground. Okay. As a cornerback, let's say the ball got tipped in the air and a linebacker came across and swatted it and a wide receiver is about to jump, high point that thing before he leaves the ground. You leave the ground first and attack the ball high in the air, tuck it away, and come protect yourself on the way down because he's going to try to strip you. Whenever those opportunities present themselves, you have to be the one to make it. It's just that simple.
All sorts of comments coming in about the rankings coming in this week. And in addition, the Rod Farva had followed up with a number of the specific writers in the AP poll and where they ranked Miami. There's an Ohio State beat writer that apparently had Miami, according to the Rod Farva, at number 7. An Auburn beat writer had them as low as 25. So this is my thought on preseason polls. Rank the teams wherever you want to. Mm-hmm. Like, I may think you're insane, but if I found out, for example, this may sound completely ridiculous to anybody, but if I found out that, okay, one particular writer ranked South Carolina number 1 and Appalachian State number 2 and Kansas number 3, and they just seem totally ridiculous, you know what? They haven't played a game yet. I don't care where they're ranked. Now, once games are played, there are writers, and in the coaches poll as well, because we both know, Wholesome One, that the coaches don't necessarily fill out the top 25. They hand it to an SID. Some are obviously more involved than others. I'm sure some of them do their own rankings, and other ones just hand it to an SID. And I'm sure there's a ton in the middle that are more like, I'll give it to the SID, but make sure we're at such and such, and make sure that Tallahassee's at such and such, and make sure like just those and the Gators are at such, and the rest of them do whatever you want. So
Right.
there's various instructions there. But I don't care where anybody ranks anybody before they play a game. Now, after they play a game, and then I see some individual writers in particular, they're 25. And if they don't make sense, then that's when I think that there should be considerations of having ballots and voting privileges taken away. But in the preseason, rank them wherever you want.
Yeah, I'm not a big preseason poll guy because, I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds cool, but it's only for like 2 weeks because eventually you're going to start playing ball and it's not going to stay the same. It's just that simple. It's cool. It looks good for your program that you start off at some point. But at the end of the moment, man, once that ball is kicked off, the number next to your name means nothing. The only thing you worry about at the end is that you're executing your game plan to the highest of your ability. And if you come out blessed to receive if you come out with the W, then celebrate it. Get ready for next week. If you come out with an L, you got to go back in and review the game plan, see where we went wrong, and try to work on that for the very next week. That's all that matters. Because guess what? Once that game is over, once 4 zeros hit at the end of the fourth quarter, it's done. You have to be able to move forward. Whether that be with the result of a win, whether that be with the result of a loss, you have to be able to move forward. That's been a big problem at this program at Miami, where, we upset and blow out Notre Dame. But then the next Saturday, that was an 8 p.m. kickoff game. The next Saturday, for a noon kickoff versus University of Virginia, we're down 21-7 at the beginning of the second quarter. Okay, it's just about that level of focus and attention to detail and be able to be, yes, excited. You earned this. You went out and executed at a high level. But that play is behind us. That quarter is behind us. That game is behind us. How do we continue to build the next game, the next game, the next game, and really galvanize troops on a mental level to understand that, yeah, we got to win, or we just so happen to lose. How do we start preparing for the next game?
So back to the rankings, you can give me any kind of scenario and I could guess within a few spots where a team's going to be ranked. Like if you said, let's skip ahead to week 8, Miami's 7-1, what are they going to be ranked? Miami 6-2, what are they going to be ranked? But what's an interesting evaluation is after they play this Alabama game, depending on how they perform, let's assume they lose. Different people take different approaches to evaluation. Some people just, okay, they were number 14, they lost. I don't care that they lost on a last second field goal. They lost, so I'm dropping them. There are other people who keep them roughly the same. Well, they lost, but they lost to one of the best teams, if not the best team in college football. And I fall more into that category. If you're number 14 in the country, and we know how good Alabama is, if they're in any way competitive, and I'm not talking about taking it down to a last second field goal. I'm like saying they stay within 15 to 20, they're going to hold my ranking, and I haven't released my rankings yet.
Yeah,
I wouldn't drop them.
I have conversation with a very good friend of mine a lot, and he argues that if Miami keeps this within 20 points, it's a W, and it's a win in his eyes. And again, like I tell him all the time, I disagree. I respect that viewpoint because we're just on two separate levels of an elite program status, But at the end of the day, it's like only one team's leaving that stadium with the W. But guess what? Only one team is to that point as a program where they're going to be able to get on the bus, get on a plane, and start prepping for the next game, regardless of what happens, because now that is behind us. Yeah, it's the kickoff classic. So you're gonna have the ceremony. They're gonna give you a trophy and all that stuff because you won this kickoff classic game. But we both know if the University of Miami wins it, we're gonna feel like we won a Super Bowl. Man, we just beat Bama, we just beat Bama, yeah, yeah, dancing, all that stuff. And Bama's just gonna be like, yeah, well, we executed at a high level, we won the game. We'll be prepared for insert name here, week 2. And it's different ways to skin a cat. All I'm saying is, for me, when in the early stages of building the program, you needed to be a little bit more, be excited, but understand that it's an ever moving target. Got to move forward.
Our guy Dante is asking a question right here concerning my top 25 that comes out every week. And I will explain something right now that, again, this will blow some people's minds. If Miami wins that game against Wholesome One, if they beat Alabama, do you know where I'm going to rank Miami? Number 1.
Yep.
They will
I've
have
been watching it for years. Yeah,
they will have the best win in the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I won't even. It's not even under consideration. And then some people come back and say, "Well, they're not that good," or "They got lucky," or "How do we know that Alabama's not that good?" Okay, you have to make some assumptions because we don't know. Nobody's played before. So, is it possible in some other universe that Alabama could be like the 50th best team in the country and we just don't know it yet? Well, it's really not. they're one of the 5 best teams in the country. There's no doubt about it. So if Miami wins, they're going to be number 1. Thanks for playing along, Wholesome One. You know the setup there. You know the drill.
Oh, Mark, I've been before I sat in this seat, I was a fan. So I know.
I appreciate it.
I know.
Because I've had strange rankings the first couple weeks of the season, like Maryland, 2 seasons in a row, they beat Texas. And so I went through, okay, it's only week 1. Okay, I'm considering that like the 6th best win of the week. Maryland's the number 16 in the country. People, crazy. You think Maryland's the 6th best team in the country? No, I didn't say that. I in no way think that they're the 6th best team, but this is all we've got to go on right now. And when
Miami made it as high as number 2 in your top 25, Mark Rogers top 25, we beat Notre Dame back in 27. I don't know if we've ever made number 1 because I think LSU or Bama was undefeated that year, but I think Miami has made it all the way up to number 2. But you were also very critical, which deservingly so, of that play throughout that season. But that comes to mind. Miami made it at least to number 2.